here are the things you'll need. Okay, so we're gonna start with a normal slip knot here, and then we're gonna do a chain, and we're gonna keep chaining. I think I did about 30 chains, but you can kind of measure from like where you want the center point of your hat to be and just extend from there and chain until you feel like you have enough, I guess. Yeah, just keep chaining. And then once you feel like you have enough, you just want, I think I'm trying to show you that you want to go into the second chain. Sorry for the terrible camera shots. I am not a film person. It's going to be terrible throughout the video. I apologize. But yeah, just find the second chain and you just want to go into the second chain. So I guess when you do your initial chains, do an extra chain. And you just want to single crochet into your second chain. I don't know what I'm doing here. Just watch me do weird things. There we go. You're gonna single crochet into that second chain. Do one single crochet, and then we're gonna do another single crochet into the, I guess, the chain after that, which is technically our second chain now. And then we're actually gonna do half double crochets into the rest of the chains. I can't speak. Yep, just slowly doing a half double crochet there, and then we're gonna do another half double crochet really slowly, I guess. Alright, and then we're just gonna keep going, and I messed up there. For some reason I messed up so many times while trying to film. I usually don't have this much trouble with, oh, right here I'm trying to show you that you should pull from the middle of your yarn, I guess. But yeah, and you just keep going. I've sped up this section, but now I feel like I did not speed it up enough. And you just keep half double crocheting, and then keep going. Oh, the camera lighting change. Right, we're at the end here, and then we're gonna finish it up with half double crochets. Yay, we did it. So we're gonna chain one. We're gonna turn our work, and we're actually only gonna go into the back stitch. We're gonna half double crochet into the back stitch. And then we're gonna just keep doing that for the rest of this, the length of this hat. Yep, I keep going very slowly. I look like I'm struggling so much. Why do I look like I'm struggling so much? Wow, look at me go so fast. I love how you can see the shadow of my hands moving. I have terrible lighting. Oh, something happened to my camera there. I don't even know what. Yeah, I apologize for the terrible filming of this. Oh, I showed you guys something there. And you just keep going. when you get to the last two where we single crocheted in the first place, we're actually just going to single crochet into the back stitch. And single crochet into the very last stitch in that row. Just go under, yarn over, pull through. I realized I should have been explaining how to do a single crochet. I'm half double crochet this whole time. Right, chain one, turn around, and we're actually gonna keep single crocheting into the back stitch of the first two. So go into the back stitch, yarn over the hook, pull it through, yarn over and pull it through. And then we're going to keep half double crocheting into the back stitches. So what you do is yarn over, go through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and then pull through all 3 loops. When you do half double crochets, you just have all 3 loops by before, I guess, like 3 loops in the end. That's how I think about it, if that makes sense. Yep, and you just keep going all the way till the end. Back loop only. I went off screen for some reason. It's so weird going back and watching me do this, because why did I struggle so much? And you just keep going. Okay, when you get to the end, I like to just do a normal half double crochet, so I go through both stitches. I think it just makes the end look a little neater. Yeah, and just a half double crochet and then chain 1 and turn around. And you basically just repeat this pattern until you have a wide, or I guess like what the circumference of your head, however many you want it to be. I think I ended up doing, oh, I don't even remember. But just basically you could just like measure the circumference of your head and then like keep making rows until you feel like you have long enough, like that. But it does stretch a little bit, so I guess like slightly the circumference of your head when it's stretched. And then we're just gonna you can sew it together at the end, but I really hate sewing, so I just slip stitched it together at the end. Oh, you do also want to end on an even round. I think it just makes it look a little neater, because then the pattern follows. So what you want to do is, you don't actually have to cut the rope, just you want to go through the very first chain again, and then yeah, so yarn over, pull through, and then pull through all of it. That's a slip stitch. Yeah, so in the second one, and then you want to just keep going, and then you go into the second chain, and then the second chain in the original chain, like on the other side, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through again. And you just keep going until you get to the end. Yeah, the lighting is slightly better now, and the background is theirs. And the background has changed. It's taken me so long to make this. I just like usually crochet during class. I find that it actually helps me pay more attention during class, or else for some reason I just like start wanting to do other stuff, but this actually keeps my hand busy, so I can't do other stuff, and I end up paying more attention during class, especially because it's on Zoom. So I'm like, oh, since I can't do anything else with my hands, like check my phone, I might as well like listen. Only if you don't need to take notes though. But yeah, crocheting definitely helped me, yeah, in a weird way, like pay more attention during class. Wow, look at me go. I love how this is like mostly off screen. You can't even see me. Alright, and we're back. Yeah, so we're just... Okay, we finished our last one. You could cut it here now and sew it in, but I like to do a little like extra stuff at the bottom. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna turn it and basically treat it like rounds. And we're just gonna single crochet around the whole bottom edge of the hat, the toque. Yeah, I just marked it with a stitch marker or a paper clip. If you have a real stitch marker, you can use that instead. I just like never bought one because I feel like paper clips are fine for this. Just to mark where the circle ends. Yeah, and we're basically just gonna single crochet into like notable holes. I know it's weird, but like, you know how many rounds or how many rows, and you just want to like single crochet one into every single row that was originally like in the block, like in the lines. Yeah, just do a single crochet into every one of those. Yeah, so by the end here, we come back to our stitch marker. That's how you know you've made a full round. The first round is easy though, because you can kind of tell, but I definitely find I always have to use a stitch marker or else I just don't know what I'm doing. Alright, so now, what are we doing? Oh, okay. So if you want to end it here, you could slip stitch into the first single crochet you did. I'm struggling. And then you can cut it here and then pull it through and then sew it in. Or you can keep going. So what I did was I kind of like improvised here, but I didn't really know. I just like tried different things. And then I ended up deciding to go with a double crochet round. Oh, I'm showing you how to do a double crochet. So, but I have already, it's already too late. I'll tell you guys what to do in the next one. So you want to start with a yarn over. You want to go through your stitch, pull, yarn over, pull through. So you have 3 loops on your thing. You want to pull through 2 the first time, and then you want to yarn over again, and then you want to pull through the last 2 the second time. So, and then you want to do that all the way around. So yeah, oh yeah, and then you want to move your stitch marker so you don't lose your spot. I'm doing this off screen for some reason. Yep, and you just keep going in the round. So yarn over, go through the stitch. Oh, I moved on. So now we are back at our stitch marker, and you just want to do the last full double crochet, not half. I think what I originally did was like I double crocheted, and then I did like front post stitch, back post stitch to get like a ribbing going, but then I thought that it looked kind of weird, so I ended up going with this like little ripple, that's not ruffle, flower-y effect, I guess. So wait, yeah, so you just want to slip stitch into the first stitch of the next round, and then what you want to do is do 3 single crochets into the next stitch, all into the same stitch. So 1, I'm almost off screen, 2, and 3. I'm so bad at filming this, I'm so sorry. And then you want to slip stitch into the next stitch. And then I think in the video I actually single crochet 3 into the next one, like alternating 3 single crochets and slip stitches, but I found at the end, I think that it was better to actually just do 3 single crochets and 2 slip stitches. I think it looks a little more even. I think I'm going back and showing that instead now, or maybe I'm just showing it a second time for emphasis. But yeah, so single crochet into the same stitch again, and then a third single crochet. And then slip stitch into the next one. Slip stitch is where you just pull the full thing through. Yep, and then just repeat that pattern. So yeah, we get to the end here, and you just wanna do 2 slip stitches at the end. The problem with 3, like repeating a pattern of 3 single crochets, a slip stitch is that like you want a number that's divisible by 3, which is a lot harder than just like one that's divisible by 2, because that's just like any even number. So it's up to you really, and then you just want to cut it, pull it through, and sew it in. And that will be your wrong side, so you actually want to flip it to get the right side on the outside. So now for the leaf. I'm just showing you that I'm using a 3.75 millimeter hook. So we're going to do a magic circle. I'm just showing you really, really slowly how to do it. It's really hard for me to explain it in words. So maybe just watch. Oh, I messed up here, or like I lost my yarn here. So I'm just going to do it again. So you want to like do this little thing with your hand, on your hand. Like cross it over, make sure it's crossed over, and you want to go under the first one, or grab the second one, and then grab it again. Yeah, maybe like watch it really slowly if you want to learn, or maybe just watch another video to learn how to do a magic circle. But we're gonna do 6 stitches on the magic circle. You just want to go under both your like little tail string and the circle string when you make these stitches. We're going to do 6 on the circle. I'm just counting because I got lost if counting to 6 apparently. Oh, I for some reason put the instructions here even though we have already finished doing them. I usually place my stitch marker now. Yeah, there we go. Because if we're gonna crocheting the rounds, I lose my rounds so easily. I have to have a stitch marker, or in this case, a paper clip, or else I have no idea where I am. Some people like can keep count. I just like the first thing that distracts me. I'm like, I have no idea what number I'm at anymore. So for the second round, we're gonna do single crochet and then an increase. So we're just gonna go into both that stitch for 1 single crochet And then for an increase, we just want to find the stitch, do 1 single crochet in that stitch, and then do another single crochet into that same stitch. Super easy. And then you just repeat the pattern until you get back to your little stitch marker. And with like these patterns, the like variable thing, right, like the increase or whatever, will always be on the last stitch marker, like on the last stitch where you marked with your stitch marker. So that's kind of a little way to like tell you if you've done the right pattern or not. If you get to your stitch marker and you're not doing like an increase, then your like count is off and you should like recount or redo that row. When I first started, I like counted like 4 or 5 times every single round how many stitches I have. This time I'll be honest, I forgot to count. But so in the third row, we're gonna do 2 single crochets and an increase. Yeah, I had a lot of trouble with this yarn. It like split a lot between like into the smaller strings and stuff. I definitely would not recommend this yarn. But I had used it to do a little baby Yoda, so it's why it's like this weird green color too. You can use a more like vibrant green if you want. But yeah, just pick any green really. And like you don't have to do this with weighted 4 or like the sized hook. But the thing is, then you should find a good size hook for your weighted, like for your yarn weight. Yeah, so we're just at the end of row 3. And we're going to place our stitch marker always into the last stitch. And for row 4, we're just going to do 3 single crochets and an increase. You can see the pattern here. I definitely recommend counting your stitches, like at least once in a while when you first start, like at the end of each row probably, just to make sure you have the right amount, because if you have the wrong amount, it will like mess up the rest of your stitches, because these numbers are pretty contingent on like because they're like, they tend to be multiples of the number of stitches in the round before. So it is good to have like the right number. And then for the next row, we're going to do 4 single crochets and an increase, and then repeat that until you get to the end. I chose to do like an amigurumi style for the leaf just because honestly, like that's what I'm more comfortable with, and also I like the more structured leaf. You could probably just do like one layer, like without having the double layer. I don't stuff the leaf. You can also stuff the leaf if you want to, but I just like left it unstuffed. I find that I like the exact amount of structure it has like this. It reminds me of like when you do the ears of like amigurumi animals and stuff. So I chose to do that for the leaf. You could probably just do like do a flat leaf if you wanted. Yeah, you can see it's starting to get that little point for one end of the leaf, and then for the 6th, we just want to single crochet 8 and then increase. This is where we change the pattern a little bit, so it increases at a less like fast. It increases a little slower, and this way we kind of like bulge out the sides a little bit, because 8 is exactly halfway through our circle. right? You just want to count 8, or I guess 9 is halfway through our circle, so we do it on the 9th stitch. And then you just want to go back, and then you should also, as with all the other rounds, be doing the increase on your last stitch as well, marked with your stitch marker. And then for the 7th round, you want to do single crochet 9 and an increase. This is just because we've expanded we've technically doubled, well, we haven't doubled, but we've added 2 stitches to our circle. So the middle of the circle is on the 10th stitch now, and that's where we'll double that stitch again. You can see me counting when I lose where I am. That happens a lot. Make your increase and then go back, and then you just wanna, same thing, do your increase at where your stitch marker is. I still counted during this part just to make sure I was at the right number, but like if you trust yourself, you could just not count and just be like, oh, I'll do my increase at the stitch marker. And then for the next round, round 8, you want to do single crochet 10 and increase, and then an increase, because once again we've increased the circle by 2, which means our half has shifted. And 11, the 11th stitch is where our the halfway point of the circle is, and you just want to do, yeah, another increase. I find that this way it like mellows out the increase and does a nicer rounded shape. I just played around with this as well. There's no like specific thing I did, and I just found I like the shape of this. You could change it if you want like a bigger leaf or something. Yeah, and we get to the end here. Place your stitch marker back in. I like 100% always need my stitch marker. And then for round 9 to 12, we actually just want to single crochet around. You should have 24 stitches by this point, and every round should have 24 stitches. This, I absolutely need my stitch marker, or else I have no idea where I'm going. Oh, I'm showing you the finished product. But yeah, just you can see it starts to look like a leaf now. But as I was saying, I definitely need my stitch marker here, and I also write down which like round I'm on, just so, because I can't count to 4 apparently. Now we just want, I'm just finishing up here. But yeah, I always write down 9, 10, 11, 12 just to know which round I have just finished. If you can count to 4, you don't need to do this. I just, for some reason, I guess can't. So now what we want to do is actually start decreasing. So it's basically the opposite of what we did, right? We're just going back and decreasing where we increased at the start. So to do a decrease, you just want to go into the first loop only of your stitch, and then you want to actually grab the first loop only of the next stitch as well. You want to yarn over, pull it through both loops. Oh, I got a little bit stuck there. Yeah, this yarn kept splitting. Yarn over and then pull that through the 2. That's how you do a decrease. It's how I always do mine. I know you can do like the more using both loops and like single crocheted way, but this is how I've always done my decreases. So yeah, and same thing here. When you get to the end, your last stitch should be the second loop of your decrease. And then you just want to place your stitch marker back in. And then for round 13, we're going to do single crochet 9 and then decrease. So this pattern should be familiar. It should be the exact opposite of what we did when we were increasing, right? When we did 8, 9, 10, instead we're doing 10, 9, 8 to get back down. And then same thing, first loop, the first stitch, first loop of the second stitch, want to yarn over and then pull that through, and then yarn over and pull it through. And then when you get to the end here, just same thing. Your last stitch should be part of your decrease. Oh, I had trouble finding, I had trouble getting into that loop there. And then, yeah, always place your stitch marker back in. I don't know what I'd do without my stitch marker. So for the next one, we're going to do 8 and decrease. This should be all, yeah, this should all be familiar. Oh, I like went off screen there for a second. Yeah, whenever I lose count so often, I have to like recount where I'm at. So when we get to the end here, we just want to do our last decrease. Yeah, it was really hard for me to grab this yarn. I also stitch with like really tight stitches, and it's just, I can't help it. So I'm thinking about switching to like a higher number hook, but I just haven't, because I feel like I'm scared it's gonna be like too big. So for the next round, we're gonna go back to 4 because that's when we increased. We jumped from 4 increase to 8. So this time when we jump back down, we're gonna do 4 and then we're gonna do a decrease. When you do decreases, I always find it helpful to like look at the number, be like of the round before. So like if you have 15, you know that's like divisible by 5. So what you want to do would be like 3 and then decrease. I don't know if that makes sense for if you want to like make your own patterns with crocheting in rounds. Just to be like, to think about what's divisible by what, and then like take away 2 of that number. I think I'm just making it more confusing, sorry if I am. But in the next round, we're going to do 3 and then decrease. Oh yeah, and then when we get to the end here, okay, so now we're actually going to stitch the leaf together. You could put wool, or you could put like stuffing in here if you want now, but I didn't. So what you want to do is grab what would be the next stitch, and then the stitch you just did, go through, yarn over, and then basically do a single crochet there. And so now it lines up, and you just want to keep going, right, to the next stitch, and you want to go through the back one as well, and then yarn over, pull through, and then do a single crochet like that. And then you actually just keep going until the end. So once you get to the end, you could do this again and like put it together. Oh, I'm talking about how hard. The last one is a little tricky to find. But you just kind of look for it. That's like the best way I can describe it, unfortunately. Just look for a place that seems like it is where it is. If it's a little off, it's fine, honestly. And then you just want to do your last little single crochet there. And then you could, yeah, that's what I was talking about. You could do another round and like put it together like that if you want. But I just left it like this because when I put it with the hat anyways, I kind of like scrunched it up. But yeah, this way it's easier to crochet into your hat, or I guess sew into your hat. And you just want to cut it and pull through. It doesn't have to be that long, but like an adequate amount so it doesn't come undone. And just pull through. And then now you have your little leaf and your hat. So you want to make sure your hat is the right side out. Where you did your slip stitches should be on the inside. So you want to get a pretty long piece of string. You want to get your needle. You want to string your yarn through your needle. I hate this part. I hate sewing in general, but I also really hate getting a yarn through that needle. And I'm really bad at sewing it, so I kind of just like whatever this, to be honest. This is not the best. I just like pulled it through and I just like tied it into a knot. I'm sure there's better ways to do this, but this is my least favorite part of making things, of crocheting, is the sewing part, which is, I don't know, because I like kind of want to start sewing, but who knows, we'll see. Yeah, I like did a little double knot here off screen for some reason. I'm so bad at filming, I'm so sorry. And now you just basically want to weave this piece of yarn through like the little ribbings, where like the bigger holes are technically. Just think about it. I thought about it like that. Be like, you want to go basically under that first ribbing, like, or under the outward ribbing. Oh, I finished it, I guess. And you just want to sew your leaf onto your little hat with that same yellow string. It'll like become pretty hidden in there, so you don't have to worry about the yellow showing in the green. I just like also randomly did this because I am terrible at sewing. And yeah, now you have your little hat. You'll probably want to go block this just to make sure it's the right size. But yeah, hat.